You know, you're playing through Danganronpa, and it is a case 1. This is literally Danganronpa V3's case 1. This is the equivalent in terms of difficulty of 11037, right? So how difficult could this possibly be? And my first thought was, okay, they're gonna give me truth bullets that I need to present during the trial, so I have been suspicious of this AV room door for a long time. You know, it's weird that it didn't open. They didn't even let me into the AV room until the investigation began. And I go in there and I find out that Gonta, the only guy who we know is strong enough to hurl something like a shot put ball, because we've seen him hurl the manhole cover. We know how strong he is. Gonta's sitting in there and he's alone and there's a crack in the door. And we know that Gonta is the kind of guy who could have, through a crack in the door, just like how Leon did in case 1 of Danganronpa 1, somehow thrown this shot put ball. Well, I finished the investigation, and I said at one point, I said, well, I'm pretty sure it's Gonta. I mean, you know, they wouldn't tell me about this door nonsense if that was a complete, you know, if that was something that wasn't going to get brought up in the trial, right? So I was pretty sure it was Gonta. But then I went back to the library, and let's actually take a look at some of the videos from the past streams. This is me yesterday. And I'm reviewing my own VODs, as I do, try to figure out who the killer is. Because I've got to crack a case where I'm gifting. I have raised the stakes, in fact, to 20 subs. I am so confident in this read. But I realized that something was amiss with my Gonta read. Miyu Iruma, the inventor, said she was building a fucking flying drone prototype so that she could create a solid and accurate floor plan of the library. Now, normally in Danganronpa, you've got this crack in the door, Gonta's got a shot to the library, Gonta could chuck the shot put ball at Rantaro and hit him in the back of the neck, and it doesn't really matter that the bookcase was open the whole time. Yeah, he didn't really have an angle to do it. Normally in Danganronpa, things like angles to the door, Danganronpa doesn't care so much about those sorts of nuances, unless they specifically mention it. And because I realized Miyu Iruma said I am going to provide an accurate floor plan, I thought, wait a minute, that means the floor plan and the angles and the geometry of the room is actually going to matter, because why else is the game spending so much time talking about this nonsensical, you know, floor plan that otherwise wouldn't matter at all? And I got to thinking, and I, as you guys probably remember during the stream, I said there's another possibility, which is that instead of the shot put ball being thrown at him, it just fell on him. But that doesn't make much sense, because if it fell off the bookcase, if the mastermind laid a trap for him, well, the bookcase was already open by the time he died, which means the bookcase was done moving, so it didn't fall from the bookcase. Well, where else could it have fallen? And I, you know, meticulously combed through the VODs, and you can actually see in the game, you see this, the camera and Rantaro's body directly above, there is a hole in the books. Those books were stacked by Kaede, the main character, and she was trying at the time to set up a, you know, some way to kind of ensure that no one could come through the vents, or maybe she could put the camera up there. And I was like, well, okay, so my first thought was, well, maybe Kaede set up the books up there, and she was, you know, we know that she likes cleaning. She busted out the broom in the classroom and just began to kind of nervously sweep the classroom as she was waiting for Shuichi to get back. So I'm like, maybe Kaede is the kind of girl that she just likes to clean. And she's just, coincidentally, she's stacking these books, and then someone else took advantage of her stacked books and built this kind of Rube Goldberg machine kind of contraption where, you know, we've got the vent, we know no one came through the vent, but it was totally possible that someone rolled a ball from the vent down her books that were conveniently kind of sloped at an angle, right? We saw this slope, and you can kind of see it in the zoomed out shot. Right here, you can see the slope, the y equals mx plus b. I was thinking someone must have fidgeted with her setup here, and they realized that she had the vent open, which she conveniently left open, and she stacked all these books. And then I was like, but then someone had to drop the ball in the vent in the first place, and as soon as we got done setting up in this room, in the library, immediately after that, Kaede and Shuichi, me, the main character, and Shuichi, went back to the classroom above the library with the vent connected to the library, and we staked it out like a bunch of cops in a Japanese detective show from the 80s. We camped that room and no one came in until the murder happened. So I was like, that's interesting. Well, is it possible that they didn't use the vent? But it didn't sit right with me. So I started watching back my own VODs. There was one moment where I had a big aha. There was actually one line when I started looking at it from the perspective of who could have fucked with Kaede's setup, and then the pieces started falling into place. In particular, I remember this moment when we finally got the camera photos back when Monophony had finished processing them.
Oh, Rantaro saw the camera.
Is the flash on? Didn't these motherfuckers say they were going to turn the flash off? Oh my god, these guys are amateurs. I said, what the fuck is the flash doing on? Who could have turned the flash on? And then I was like, well, shit, I guess somebody came in and saw the cameras and tinkered with the books and tinkered with the, saw that the vent was open and conveniently took. And then I was like, wait a minute. If Rantaro only saw the camera because the flash was on, then it doesn't make sense that someone else would have somehow come in here before Rantaro did. Again, somehow not triggering the cameras, because we've seen, since we set up the cameras, that no one else has come into the room except for Rantaro. And I kept watching my VODs, and I kept watching that VODs, and I saw a very incriminating line. And I was watching this scene in particular. This is the scene where Kaede is basically stacking the books and opening the vent, and Shuichi is setting up the cameras, and we're in the library. And Kaede's thinking about whether things will, whether this plan is going to work. And she says, this will work. This will definitely work. This plan is perfectly composed like Chopin's ballades. And I read this line. And Kaede said, I actually really like complicated contraptions like Rube Goldberg machines and stuff. And I guess at the time, I just blazed past this line. Because, whatever, right? They're just kind of shooting the shit. They're just kind of talking. But when I had everything that I had in my brain and I was going back through this footage and I saw Kaede say this, and I realized that the killing method is a Rube Goldberg machine, I think this is a dead giveaway. Because there is no other Rube Goldberg machine. The cameras and everything, yeah, okay, at the time, you probably think she's talking about the cameras and the... But that's not really what a Rube Goldberg machine is. A Rube Goldberg machine is one long sort of domino chain that causes something to happen. It's not something as simple as a sensor and a camera and, us reacting to it to go catch the murderer. I mean, yeah, you can kind of read into it that way, but all of this? And then I said, wait a fucking minute. So you like Rube Goldberg machines? And then I started getting curious. And then I was thinking, wait a minute, so the hole in the books, that's actually been there the whole time. It wasn't like someone fucked with them, Kaede set them up that way, and she left the vent door open even though she was very scared of someone coming through them. And then I started watching more footage, and I realized the flash was on the camera, and who had access to the cameras but Kaede and Shuichi? So it had to have been one of those two who turned the flash on to guide Rantaro to the camera to stand directly under the hole that Kaede had conveniently planned. And I was like, but there's no way. Let's actually go to the actual moment the murder happened and see if there are any clues, because they were in the classroom, and the classroom is where they would have gotten access to the vent to drop the ball on Rantaro. Let's see if there's anything else that really seals the deal. And I was watching this scene, and the buzzer goes off because the receiver's been activated. The sensor's going off because Rantaro's in the room. And Shuichi, the receiver, someone move the bookcase. Hurry, Kaede. Shuichi leaves the room first, so we know Shuichi couldn't have done it. Kaede would have seen him. And then I want you to pay attention to the next line. Wait for me! I dropped everything I was holding and ran after Shuichi. And I skipped past this at the time. I dropped everything I was holding? What were you holding, Kaede? She dropped everything she was holding. We know she was holding a broom because she was sweeping the classroom, but normally you would say I dropped the broom. If you're only holding one object, you don't say I dropped everything I was holding. And then I said this is too many coincidences. The moment that did it for me was when I read the Rube Goldberg machine line back. I've already kind of been clued into this whole Rube Goldberg bullshit from Danganronpa 2 Case 5. And as I was thinking through all this, I was like, well, would the game really do this? Would Danganronpa V3 really do this? Because look, she's the main character. I'm assuming Shuichi takes control for the rest of the game. Maybe Danganronpa is something against women protagonists. I mean, it would definitely fit in line with, Danganronpa 1 and 2. Maybe they wrote a chapter of Kaede being the protagonist and they said enough is enough. Gotta kill her off. Can't do this anymore. We need a guy to be the star, But then I remembered the words of an old friend and enemy, Nagito Komaeda. He started talking about how there was no hope amidst all the killing, and that's because at the time he realized that everyone on the island was a remnant of despair. And then he starts talking about a novel he likes. The novel told from the point of view of a high school girl who's involved in a murder mystery, but at the surprising end, it turns out that the girl was the killer all along. And it was written from the point of view of the girl so as to throw off the reader. And it's written carefully so that the reader doesn't stumble upon the ending in the middle of the story. So I'm betting 20 subs that the Rube Goldberg machine-loving Kaede Akamatsu, who left the flash on so that Rantaro would stumble over under the book hole that she conveniently set up, that sloped ever so conveniently from the vent that she conveniently left open, that led to the classroom that only her and Shuichi were in, that Shuichi left first, is the killer of Danganronpa V3. No, I don't keep raising the size of it. I said 20 subs. I said 20 subs. It was 10 and then I said 20. That's it, okay? There are two rooms in which this case happened. There's the classroom with the vent. We got Kaede and we got Shuichi. The vent connects the library. And then you got these books that Katie, aka Kaede Akamatsu, conveniently stacked very, very meticulously to form this sort of gradual slope. And then we got the camera, which is right here. So Rantaro walks into the room, and the bookcase comes open. Okay? Comes open. And then there's this blinding flash. Flash. You see the flash? And he's like, what the fuck? Because the bookcase coming open triggers the flash. And he's like, what is that? And he walks over. And with the bookcase coming open, Shuichi darts out of the room. Gotta go downstairs. Kaede kicks, or not even kicks, drops the ball, the shot put ball, which I guess will make purple. Puts it in the fucking thing, and it's going down. And as Shuichi goes downstairs, the ball is also rolling downstairs. And it rolls down the complicated, and by the way, this vent is open, so, you know, pretend I didn't draw lines over this one, because the grate is actually open. And as Rantaro arrives to the camera to check it out, plonk, it falls on his head and kills him. It falls on his head, kills Rantaro, and Kaede, acting innocent, follows Shuichi downstairs, where the body is freshly discovered. And then the rest of the gang walks into the room through the front door. The photos get taken, but no one else was ever recorded coming into the library. No one else went into the classroom. And it would have been a perfectly closed, closed room sort of murder where there's no evidence as to who the killer could have possibly been, except for the fact that Kaede had to have known the whole time she was basically sticking with Shuichi, the ultimate detective. And if he's really the ultimate detective, she's got some stones on her, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be putting together this murder contraption in the room while he's setting up cameras. I'm just glad I finally am going into a case with a really good feeling about who the murderer is. Gonta threw the shot put ball. Just like Leon from the first game. 11037, dude. I don't think that's what happened. I think a certain Rube Goldberg machine lover built a Rube Goldberg machine under our very noses. I've already been through this, Logic Tojo. I've been through this whole thing in my brain. Yep. Manhole cover. I thought this was gonna get brought up. Oh, everything's playing out according to my expectations right now. Bro, Kaede is literally just trying. She's actually inting. She's trying to get killed. This is crazy. Alright, now we're finally getting to the crux of the case. It took us 2.5 hours. Why did he notice the camera? Finally. Finally. Holy shit, we spent so much time on all this other shit. Alright. Let's do it. Alright, here we go. She's like, maybe.
っていうか、本当はずっと前から分かってたんだよね。だからね、この事件の間違いないの。
Side.
ここまでみたいだね。
Man.
ごめんね、犀原くん。君がずっと黙ってたのは、それに気づいちゃったからだよね。
I thought he was gonna realize it sooner, if we're being honest. He should have figured it out before the trial, like I did.
私はここで終わりかもしれん。君に託すよ、犀原くん。ここからは君がやるんだよ。君がみんなを守るんだよ。
Talking to me? Are you talking to me? Now Tango's gonna yell at me every time I talk to her. Miyu's gonna be mean to me and call me weird shit. Alright, well, not gifting subs today. We're about to spend literally an hour sitting here recounting this MS Paint diagram I drew in 2 minutes.
図書室の本棚の上にある通気口から出て
Really the first time we're bringing up the vent. That's insane.
でもそこからどうやって天海さんに砲丸を当てるんですか
Rube Goldberg device. Man, when I said ultimate detective POV.
作のドローンを使って実写の成
Yeah, the Domon Kashu dude. The windmill Gundam. Don't forget about the windmill Gundam. Oh my god, the slope. Yeah, so she did use the drones to provide the slope. Ha! There's even open books over there. I did. Really, no one else looked at those books and thought, wow, those sure are stacked conveniently weird looking. Am I the only person who's ever played this game and noticed that?
そして開かれた状態で置いてある隠しカメラのフラ次々とからくりが連鎖していく仕掛け
They did hit us with the Y equals MX plus B. That is exactly right. Rise over run.
いや待てよそんな仕掛けがあっ
そうですよ
When she dropped everything she was holding. She dropped everything she was holding and ran after Shuichi. Never forget everything she was holding. Oh wow, the game even Get fucked, Danganronpa V3. I'm so far ahead of you. Don't worry about showing me flashbacks. I got those on deck. I got those on deck. You think I need flashbacks? I got them lined up. I got clips on clips. Damn, I came back to the game. The game thought it was showing me some shit that blew my mind. Get out of town. You think I need this game to hold my hand? I'm playing on hard mode. And we're done. Probably just this case tonight. This case was pretty long.
事件の発端は2日前ここで追加された殺し合いのタイムリミットが結果
Yeah, that was I like the UI for that closing argument. I do like that UI for the closing argument.
それを聞いて
I'm just glad the killer wasn't Ryoma, man. I'm gonna need Ryoma around for the fucking tunnel, you know what I'm saying?
僕も首謀者をまさか僕と犯人は首謀者の図書室には隠された扉があってタイムリミットになればモノクマを出動させるたそして翌日必要な材料を揃えに倉庫へと僕らが必要でもここで
The murder weapon.
そう犯人はカメラをリュックに入れな
Shuichi, I can't believe Shuichi didn't solve the murder like sooner. I guess he just didn't want to. He trusted her
殺
too
し合い
much.
のイルマさんが改造してくれたカメラを受け取った後
He didn't want it to be her. It's like some fucking Makoto Kyoko shit from Danganronpa 1 Case 5.
そして通気口の蓋を外して本棚の上にある大量の本を整理するそして最後の本棚では一見何気ない行動に見えていたけど犯人はこのさらに犯人は防犯ブザーと連動した改造カメラにも
I like how they even worked the open encyclopedias into the dialogue.
他のカメラは僕が仕掛けたけどそのカメラだけは僕は気がつくこと犯人がカメラをガムテープでがっちりと固定しフラッシュ機能をオンにしていたことに
On.
こうしてそこから
Even this closing argument feels like it takes way longer than the last game's closing arguments. Am I imagining this? I feel like this closing argument's going on forever.
その中には天海君桃田君たちがゲームルームに入っていくのをタイムリミットが残り1時間である僕は首謀者が隠し扉に来たんだと思ってすぐに教室を飛び出して図書でも今思い返せ犯人はそれをこの瞬間防犯ブザーが鳴った時
They've been this long?
図書室ではこの時犯人が図書室に残した仕掛けも
Yeah, they just really exhaust everything. Yeah, it's true. It's true. They really go into the woods, you know?
防犯ブザーと連動した改造カメラが
The weeds, the woods.
フラッシュを焚きながら
Both work.
天海君の姿を映した
I did guess correctly. I even made this handy dandy diagram showing how I thought the murder happened. A handy dandy diagram that proved truly handy dandy. They should have just had me explain the murder, man. They didn't need to do a 3-hour trial. That just make me. They should just, the next Danganronpa should be you just have to draw MS Paint diagram of how the murder happened, and then they use machine learning to tell if the MS Paint diagram actually fits the way the murder happened. And that's it. That's it. You don't need to do all this trial nonsense. DR2 Case 3. What was DR2 Case 3? That was. Oh god, despair bullshit. Oh, I hated that one so much. Yeah, I thought that one was terrible. I thought that one was terrible. I'll write one day. Sub goal at 3,000 subs. I'll write a mystery novel. I'll get there eventually. I'll get to 3,000 subs eventually. You guys will have your novel. Trust me. Damn, Kaede. So Kaede basically got set up as this game's Sayaka Maizono, but she was way cooler than Sayaka. Because Sayaka was trying to kill for selfish reasons, and Kaede was trying to kill for selfless reasons. And her method of killing was way cooler, too. Sayaka's plan was really like, let me just invite this, like, you know, like, really athletic, strong guy into the room where there's a weapon that he can literally pick up that could defeat me in combat, and bank on me defeating him in physical combat, which of course she doesn't. Like, yeah. Nice try, Sayaka. She's like, yeah, Makoto, you should put this golden sword in the room. That'll help you. And it won't foil my plan. Sayaka really fucking threw.